So today, we're going to talk about horror movies that are like specific horror books that I've enjoyed, both of which horror movies and horror books I've enjoyed. If you're new here, welcome to Moonlight Library. If you are not new here, then welcome back. Be sure to subscribe if you are new here. So I have a slate of 10 books and 10 movies to recommend to you, each paired. They're either paired on the gist of it or the plot or just the feels and the vibes. So here we go. The first one is Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. Horror Movie follows this man who back in the 90s, he was in a horror movie titled Horror Movie that was made but never released because of things that happened on the set or ended up happening. This book is as if it's his audiobook. We are following his tale from back then and present day. It also includes the script from the movie, the screenplay. It's really interesting the way it's written. The movie that I want to recommend is Late Night with the Devil. I just watched this the other day. Also takes place on a set, but this is a late night talk show set, and it's the final airing of this talk show because of what ends up happening that night. And it is a lot. I didn't love the ending, but I loved it throughout. And if you forget the ending happens, then it's great. It was really well made. It felt like you were watching this lost footage. Both of these are horror movies that take place on sets, which kind of brings them together in a way. And they both have the found footage mixed media aspects to them, which I really enjoy. Just in general, I'm a very big found footage person. So if you want something a little spooky that is easy to watch, easy to read, then these are it, especially for me. So Horror Movie, I didn't love, but it was entertaining to read, I will say, which I think counts a lot for a horror book. Next up is the Saturday Night Ghost Club, which I just finished. We are following this boy, and it's set in the 80s in Niagara Falls area. His uncle owns an occult shop, and they start doing on Saturday nights a little paranormal thing, but it's so much more than that because of everything that ends up happening. It's almost a quiet horror, more so. Then we have, I want to say Super 8, because children kind of doing kid things, because you have a lot of that in Saturday Night Ghost Club. They're just like being kids, you know? So these kids in Super 8, they're trying to make a zombie film. It's set in the late 70s. They end up witnessing a train derailment. Then they're trying to figure out what happened. It's a J.J. Abrams film, and it's really good. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember really enjoying it. Next is FantasticLand, which I recently read. So I think these are like some of the 10 most recent horror books I've read. Anyways, so this is FantasticLand, and this is a group of younger people primarily, but there's some adults that are staying at this theme park on the east coast of Florida in Daytona Beach during a hurricane so that they can clean up in the aftermath, but the hurricane's so bad and this place is not prepared for this sort of thing at this point. A lot of bad stuff goes on, not with the hurricane, but more so with people creating factions and just building a society that is just so scary. So I wanted to compare that. I felt like it made sense. Not a natural disaster, but this is a TV show. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's on HBO, Last of Us. I thought that this made sense because it's like the aftermath of something catastrophic happening, Last of Us being like a zombie sort of show, how people rebuild society, how people treat each other. It's more so about human nature. Of course, you have monsters in The Last of Us, but looking at it from the vantage point of human nature and people either coming together or breaking apart. Then we have the Troop. The Troop takes place, it's this group of Boy Scouts off Prince Edward's Island. They go out to this remote island. There ends up being a parasite. So it's like worms. It's very body horror for a parasite and kids. We have some older kids in the faculty. They're teenagers. Once again, there's something parasitic that is infecting them. I think a lot of it has to do with trust in each other, figuring out who has the infection, who is tainted by this foul thing. Faculty was always one of my favorite movies back when I was younger. I rewatched it recently and it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Then we have the Final Girl support group. This one is Grady Hendrix. So we are following a group of final girls who are in therapy years after there have been franchises made off of what have happened to them. They're pretty famous. It's as if all your final girls from all those movies were real. There's someone hunting final girls. I wanted to say, like, watch any teenage slasher movie and you'll be like this and this, but I wanted to point out Scream specifically because Scream is so much more than just a slasher. It's a commentary on horror in general. I think that the Final Girl support group is also a commentary on slashers and horror in general, so they're very in sync with each other in that vein. This is an obvious one to me, but The Year of the Witching, yes, Alexis Henderson is, I can't wait until she comes out with something new, but this is a puritanical society. There's this girl that was born out of circumstances. Her mother was like seen to be a witch. We're following her and this horrific society. It's a separate area that's kind of like you live here, you stay here sort of situation, and it is very creepy. There's some creepy woods. So I want to compare that obviously to The Witch because The Witch is once again also puritanical and it's set in the 1600s. This family goes to live on this like remote plot of land. Both of them are kind of this rural horror almost. The farming horror. Historical farming horror involving witches, the devil, a creepy goat. Love it. Then we have Lute, which I read a little while ago. This takes place on this island. It's off of England. No one dies on this island because every 7 years, 7 people die. Well, people only die every 7 years. There's only 7 people that are currently on the island that will die. So sometimes it might be like someone who comes to visit the island dies or something. I want to compare that to The Wicker Man, the original one. I just watched this recently and it is so good. It is amazing. There's this girl who's gone missing and this guy, a detective, comes to the island alone, great idea, to investigate and try and find this girl. The people are not very friendly. It's very small town, weird vibes. Both of these are folk horror that are surrounding pagan ritual-esque things. Love it. Then we have episode 13. This one is Craig DiLouie. It's mixed media. We are looking at the transcripts of this ghost hunting show on their 13th episode. It's also text messages, emails, journal entries. They go to this paranormal research facility that is like a dead paranormal research facility. Something happened here a long time ago and things obviously start happening when they're there, and it's really good. Paranormal Activity franchise. If you haven't watched this since it came out, maybe you should. I love it. I have this feeling that like when it came out, or I remember when it came out, people were like, oh, it's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's not stupid. It's good. It's really good. This is one of my like guilty pleasures. So both of these, we have found footage, paranormal activities happening. I think they go hand in hand in a really nice way. Next up, we have Come Closer by Sara Gran. This one is a possession horror. This woman ends up possessed. Really short, easy to get through, kind of like grimy. I want to compare that to Jennifer's Body because we have like this female horror empowerment, sure. Kind of love that. But both of them are possession narratives and they have this like sex element to them. So love. I always do that. Whatever. Next up, we have Everything the Darkness Eats by LaRocca. I love LaRocca. I think they are a gem to the horror genre. So yes, Everything the Darkness Eats, it follows a couple of different storylines, and one of the main storylines that I'm looking at has to do with these women that keep going missing. Something happening there. There is I'll get to it. Okay, so I want to compare it to Suspiria. Suspiria is this dancer who gets invited to join a dance troupe in Germany, and this is happening, I think, during like the Cold War or like something like that. Anyways, I've seen the original and the remake. Maybe it's sacrilege, but I love the remake. Whatever. Don't judge me. They both have devil and occult worship and just the weird practices that they're up to, and just the best stuff ever. In the end, I don't know, I love horror in general, and it's the end of the horror season right now, so I just wanted to come on here and give you some recommendations for horror movies and horror books that go well together. If you like one, read it, read the other, or watch the other. Do whatever you want. Anyways, let me know if you have any good recommendations as well. I always love to hear them. I love to hear what you have to say. Thanks for being here today, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay.